And we now welcome in Sports Director Brandon Kinnard. Brandon, as I said before, a where were you kind of game it felt like, but man, what a thriller.
Yeah, you kind of took the words right out of my mouth. Great minds think alike,
exactly,
right? I was going to say,
exactly.
they play that Jerry Kramer ad on the video boards here at Lambeau Field where he says, you can say, I was there that day. This felt like that kind of day.
He was here today.
He was here.
He was.
And maybe he brought some of that magic with him because, man, it was quite a fourth quarter. Unbelievable comeback. Jordan Love's numbers weren't terrific, but you can see the poise, the swagger with which he plays. Matt LaFleur talked about that after the game.
It's cool to see his personality come out. I think it's always tough on, and I've said this before, on quarterbacks when you're in that number 2 role. You can't truly, you want to be respectful of the position, but it's not your team until you're the guy. And we're seeing what he's all about. He's a competitive dude, and I think he's learned a lot over these last couple of years from one of the all-time greats. And it's cool to see his personality come out, his fight, and his playmaking ability.
The numbers through 3 games have not been MVP caliber, and I don't know that we expected them to be right away, at least. 22 of 44, 259 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. His first interception, which was basically just an arm punt there in the third quarter. But, man, LaFleur said it. We've been saying it. Just the way that he plays, the calm demeanor that he has, that translates to the rest of the team.
You talk to anybody in that locker room, Brandon, that they have all the faith in the world that Jordan Love is going to get it done. We keep saying it. He's calm, cool, and collected, and he absolutely looks the part. He looks unfazed even when they're trailing. He looks like the same quarterback all the time, all throughout the game. He was also their leading rusher, but one place I want to see him to continue to develop, they got to start connecting on the deep ball. Musgrave took the responsibility for the deep ball down the seam, but he was wide open. I mean, just lay it up to him and he can catch it. But otherwise, I mean, he throws balls in some tight windows, and you got to like what you see so far in 3 starts of the Jordan Love era.
And stating the obvious, but they really miss Aaron Jones.
Absolutely.
Desperately. A.J. Dillon, 11 carries, 33 yards. They need Jones back as quickly as possible.
Absolutely, and the one stat that blew my mind is, you talked about it. One of those rushes was a swing past A.J. Dillon for 14 yards. So if you take that out, he had 10 carries for 19 yards. It's 1.9 yards per carry. Now, it's not all his fault, and we keep saying that. He got hit behind the line a few times. I mean, DeGuara whipped on a block, but that rushing attack has to get better. But when you have an offensive line that is better at pass blocking than run blocking, you need somebody like Aaron Jones who can hit the holes or just squeeze through somewhere. They really missed that. But one thing I thought was interesting, Brandon, when it was crunch time, it was Patrick Taylor in there.
They had him in some crucial situations in the fourth quarter, that's for sure. You mentioned the offensive line. Another injury there today. Zach Tom went down late with a knee injury, so his status on a short week for Thursday. Who knows about that? That's your 3 best offensive linemen right now in Bakhtiari, Jenkins, and Tom that are all injured. Defensively, only 1 touchdown allowed. That came in the first quarter. The other touchdown on special teams, of course. And, man, Rashawn Gary, it was good to see him back, really running at true Rashawn Gary speed today with the 3 sacks.
Oh, absolutely. I was talking to Kenny Clark after the game. He's just like, after all he's been through, he pretty much wanted to praise Jesus, but he said, it's so good to see him back out there. He's a huge difference maker on this team. I mean, last year, what did they miss down the stretch even when their defense was playing well? Nobody could rush the passer. Well, Rashawn Gary got 3 sacks today. He opens things up for everybody else because the offensive line has to pay more attention to him. So we saw Clark get a sack. So this defense only allowed 10 points today. It looked like they were getting gashed at times, but 10 points should win you a game every single time. Joe Barry's crew stepped up today, and that's what you love to see.
And Derek Carr injured as well. We'd be remiss not to mention that because the game changed when Jameis Winston came in, certainly.
Absolutely, and I thought one play that stood out that it was Jameis Winston, not Derek Carr, was on the field goal to end the game. The play before on the 3rd down to set up that field goal, they threw a short pass to Michael Thomas. That made me believe that they didn't have any faith in Jameis Winston to throw the ball down the field and even just get a little closer because it was Jameis and not Derek Carr.